Hey folks, Mr. Parsons here to talk to you about today's assignment, which is a class discussion on the topic of citizenship. Last week, we had a chance to read two paired texts, an excerpt of the graphic novel Illegal and a chapter from the memoir The Distance Between Us. We annotated those texts twice, first time for up, down, both, and why responses, and the second time to answer focus questions related to point of view. Now it's time to share our learning and our thinking with each other through a class discussion. To begin with, you'll see our discussion ground rules. It's all about respect. I'm not going to read these rules to you, but you want to make sure you're a good listener and you're considering the opinions of all. It's also very important to contribute to the class discussion, which I'll talk more about shortly. On the third slide, you're going to see your task. It's the same as on previous class discussions. On each slide, there's a sentence starter or a question along with an image that corresponds. Your job is to add your thinking with a sticky note, making sure to put your initials and the hour at the bottom. Remember, this is a graded activity. It's a classwork grade, and an easy one at that. There are 3 slides, and that means that you have to do a total of 3 sticky notes for this class discussion. Even if you choose not to speak in class, you still get credit for participating as long as your sticky notes are on the board. So it makes sense to contribute your thinking and make sure your voice is heard one way or another. The first slide says, how have the readings impacted your understanding of what it means to be a refugee? This is a fairly open-ended question. As you see on the slide, there is an image of an overcrowded boat, much like the one that Kwame and Ibo made their dangerous trip on. How have these readings impacted your understanding of what it means to be a refugee and why people might make that decision for themselves or their family members? The second slide that you can respond to says, write about the impact of the point of view or an up, down, both why response you had to Illegal. The story was told through the eyes of Kwame and Ibo, both young Ghanaian refugees. How does that point of view impact the way that we understand the story? And then finally, we've got Rena Grande as a kind of a teenager in this picture. But in the excerpt from the story, she's only 8 years old. Write about the impact of the point of view of an 8-year-old Rena Grande on telling that story, or an up, down, both why response that you had to the story as you were reading. You'll have about 15 minutes to prepare your sticky notes, and then we'll have our class discussion. I'm looking forward to hearing all your thoughts and reactions to the 2 texts, Illegal and The Distance Between Us.